right, we're going to running backs. We got like 50 people here. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. We're going to be hitting the mailbag here pretty soon. We're going into running backs, and our mainstay hire guy, Jeff Wilson, of course,
Always.
At San Francisco. We got him as our RB14. Experts have him all the way down at 21. We love Jeff Wilson.
Absolutely love him. And it is the worst matchup for running backs. No team has given up fewer points to the position than the 49ers. But I just mix in revenge game. I think he's going to get plenty of TD chances. And I think Mike McDaniels is going to want his guy to stick it to Shanahan, who traded him away. He was the running back 10 and running back 6, Jeff Wilson, in his first 2 games with the team. He had 12 points in the first half, finishes the running back 25, despite not even playing, similar to Tua last week, at all in the second half. So in a game where they're going to need their best to step up big, I like Wilson even in this tough spot to have a nice day.
Damien Pierce, we talked about him before. He's playing against Cleveland. You like him at 16. The experts have him at 19. Not a huge discrepancy, but why do you like Pierce here? He's been struggling like crazy just because everybody can run on Cleveland.
Exactly. He's had 3 and 3 points in back-to-back weeks, so it is ugly. I can understand the hesitation, but I want to emphasize that I'm going to go back to Pierce where I have him because Cleveland is that abysmal. Only Houston is the worst in terms of points allowed to running backs. Burkhead also might be out, which could open up a little more passing game work for him and keep him. The big risk with Pierce, of course, is how game flow dependent he has been in the past. We know Dare Aguilera might be involved too, which would just really, really suck. But I think, the fact that he had, again, 7 straight games of double-digit fantasy points of top 20 running back numbers, I'm going to go back to the well in this type of matchup. And then if he sucks here, I guess it's never again type of territory. Because if you can't do it against Cleveland, you can't do it against anybody. But I think this is going to be a nice get-right spot for Damien Pierce.
What do you think? How many total rushing yards do you think they're going to be in this game?
I think it's because it's to the two. You're right. The 2 worst run defenses in the league against each other.
Like, the only team worse than them is Houston. I was like, yeah, they're in the same game. Like this.
Yeah. So I mean, Chubb for 150, Pierce for 90 himself. Hunt maybe gets 60. We're getting around 300 or so total rush yards. I bet
we'll probably get some rushing yards.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a fair amount of rushing yards. Yes.
Yeah, and Brandon Cooks will have 1 reception for 6 yards.
Exactly.
All right. Miles Sanders going against Tennessee, running back 24, 4 spots lower than the experts. Miles Sanders is so frustrating.
He really is. I mean, the running back 2 last week, 30 points. Like, he's a monster. So that's really scary to recommend him as a potential bench this week. This is just the respect I have for Tennessee. I think they are a monster run defense. I know the 49ers are giving up even fewer, but I honestly think Tennessee is even better against the pure rush. What's been big with Tennessee is they're giving up the most receptions rather to running backs, but that's not Sanders' game. They take him out for those obvious passing situations. So if he's not going to get it done as a receiver, I think he's really going to struggle on the ground, and you're banking on a touchdown against a really good defense that's given up minimal touchdowns to the running back position. So I have him below Zeke, Rashad White, even Isaiah Pacheco, especially if he's a 3-down back this week. Pretty worried about Miles Sanders.
Antonio Gibson at the Giants, 31 for you, lower than the experts. They have him at 27. Again, that's kind of a fringe running back 2 situation. Why are you not a little higher on Gibson? I mean, Brian Robinson had his best game ever. Is that why?
And that's a big part of it. Yeah, it looked like Gibson was finally gaining a stranglehold on this backfield just 2 weeks ago. And how do they repay him after a big, nice effort? He plays less snaps than Brian Robinson, 26 to 30, sees, the same amount of targets. Robinson's the one somehow catches the fucking touchdown. It's just a nightmare committee already. It's such a game flow specific situation. And even when it is game flow specific, it seems like the coaching staff just wants to do anything but help Gibson succeed. And they want to do everything they can for Brian Robinson, who looks worse, in my opinion, than Gibson out there. But that doesn't matter. Whatever we think doesn't matter. It's what the coaches do. So I just don't trust Gibson this week. I think Robinson's their go-to guy here.
All right, we talked about your Hail Mary before. You can talk about it a little more if you want. Jaylen Warren, he's 26% rostered. He's going to be the man going at Atlanta. Snell also 11% rostered, but it seems to me that if you're going for one of these guys, you're going for Warren. It seems like Snell would kind of be a waste.
Absolutely. I would much, much rather have Jaylen Warren. He's cleared. He practiced in full already this week. So obviously this hinges on Najee being out. And if he is, I wouldn't be shocked if we see Warren as a true 3-down back. Like, he's definitely been the 3rd down back, even with Harris there, but he's been so efficient as a rusher as well. In fact, one of the best in the league. He has done 5th in broken tackle rate, 15th in yards before contact per carry, 4th evasive rate. 16 of his 18 targets have been caught. He's 20th in running backs in yards per route run. He's just really productive in all facets of the game. He has more 10-plus yard runs than Najee Harris on the season. on half the workload. So I would love to see him get a featured workload here and see what he does in a great spot against the Falcons, who give up the 9th most points to backs. Again, only 25% rostered right now. I could see Jaylen Warren putting up 20 plus fantasy points when he finally gets unleashed. Now, the risk, of course, as you mentioned, Benny Snell, what if he, after a 12 carry, 62 and a touchdown effort, like maybe he gets involved too, and it's a two-headed nightmare, and he's just Jaylen Warren, the third down back. There is risk there to that, but I just think Jaylen Warren is too talented. He's been the clear-cut number 2 before this. I think he comes right back in, takes that role over, and has himself a really, really solid day against Atlanta.
And must watches, of course, we've been referencing for about a week now. Zonovan Knight, 0% owned, right? We're corner. That's our corner. So if Zonovan Knight blows up, we can say we've been all over this guy.
The one thing we haven't covered with him, do you know what his nickname is?
ZK.
It's 3 letters. Bam. Bam Knight. I mean, if you have a chance to roll Bam Knight into the lineup, it's tough to turn that down. 17 touches last week. That's really all you need to know, especially the fact that he did really solid with him. Over 100 total yards on him. Also find the end zone. We know Ty Johnson will remain the third down back, but this guy showed a true 3-down skill set. They're not afraid to use him in the way they were using Mike Carter. I really like this kid, and we know Mike White likes to pepper his running backs. So if you have White, I think you can definitely toss Knight, not White. If you have Knight, though, I definitely think you can toss him in there.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.